Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.
Is that smoking commercial?
And welcome everyone to this week's edition of Sports Shorts presented by LeBears Casino. Ronnie Rance alongside Joel Davis here in the studios. We'll have Dan Canaveri in the second half hour of the show, talking a little LSU baseball. Of course, LSU hoops with him. Final Four is set, and we know that LSU's not going to be in
They're not in it.
the Final Four. We know that Michigan State is, though, the team who knocked off the Tigers. Tom Izzo back for the first time in 4 years. The Spartans.
Oh, is that all 4 years?
It's only been 4 years since Izzo went. Huh. They beat LSU by 17. Michigan State knocked off Duke. They will take on Texas Tech, who's a first-time participant. Texas Tech, the Raiders knocked off the Red Raiders, knocked off Gonzaga, a number one seed. They'd never been to the Final Four. On the other side of the bracket, it's Virginia. I'm pulling for Virginia. If not, I'm pulling for Auburn. Virginia's taking on Auburn. Auburn's never been to the Final Four. Charles Barkley's thrilled. That's the SEC representative. I'm the guy. I always argue with Jacob Hester on his show because I'm always go SEC. If LSU doesn't win it, I want an SEC team to win it. Some people disagree. They don't want to see all the SEC teams lose. But Virginia, if Virginia wins it, I'll be happy. Look, what they went through last year, losing the number 16 seed, University of Maryland, Baltimore County. First time ever a number one has lost to a 16. All year they have had to listen to it. Heck, they were down at halftime to a number 16 seed this year.
Yeah.
Came from behind to win. So glad that they kind of get to shake off those demons from a year ago. So Virginia and Auburn on one side, Michigan State and Texas Tech on the other, and that's your Final Four.
I'm excited about Auburn. I think Auburn is playing the best out of any team in the tournament.
They're
right
on
now.
a heater.
I think they've won like 15 straight, 30 wins for the season so far, which is, I mean, just a few years ago, this is like a 5-win SEC team. I mean, this is how far they've come.
They were so far down they went and got Bruce Pearl because they figured nobody would care.
Right.
You know, with all his baggage.
Really, I mean, and how good of a coach is he? And I've said this on our radio show, and I truly believe it. You know, there's one thing to be able to coach X's and O's, right? I mean, that's one thing. But you have to be able to motivate players. You have to be able to bring them to another level with using psychology, right? To make them not only better with maybe the game plan, but mentally better. And I don't think there's anybody that does it better than Bruce Pearl and Tom Izzo. Those are two guys that can get their guys mentally prepared better than anybody that I've seen in a long time. They're tremendous.
By the way, Tom Izzo, you know, if you ask anyone, their first reaction is going to be Mike Krzyzewski, best basketball coach, you know, of the modern era. You know, current basketball coach in college. Who would you take? And it'd be Mike Krzyzewski. Olympics, national championships, Final Fours, done it for 30-plus years, all that. Maybe Jim Boeheim at Syracuse.
Until the one and done started happening.
But yes, so that's my point. 2 times in the last 15 years that Duke's been to the Final Four. Only twice in the last 15 years. I mean, that's pretty hard to believe.
Right.
And because Mike Krzyzewski has, for a long time, he was slow to the party on accepting the one and dones. He decided to go that route, and now you're seeing that. They're exciting during the regular season. There's a lot of buzz around recruiting. There's a lot of excitement in Cameron for the regular season, but they don't have that experience, those 2, 3, 4-year players in their program as much anymore. So now you're seeing the results. Only 2 Final Fours in 15 years at Duke.
Of the 4 teams that are still in the tournament, only 2 starting freshmen in the lineups, 8 seniors, 7 juniors. That tells you right there how to win. How do you want to win? You want to win a championship at the NCAA level in basketball. The one and done is not going to get it done. You have to go get guys that you can develop. So first of all, you got to get a coach that can develop players, right? That's the first thing. You got to get a coach that can develop players. Then secondly, you got to get a coach that is okay with developing players and a fan base and an administration that's willing to give it time to develop. Because that's what it's going to take to win an NCAA championship in college basketball. You have to have a coach that's willing, that's patient, who's good, like a Bruce Pearl, like a Tom Izzo, that can get guys and keep them around and not lose them.
And look, I don't think there's anything. I don't think there was anything wrong with Duke per se this past year with the one and done situation. I think they're bad guys or anything.
Well, they
like
got a
that.
lot of young guys.
I mean, if they just would have had a couple of veterans,
right?
Even not even necessarily starters, just a couple of 4-year guys to come off that bench with some experience when some of those younger superstars needed to sit and watch they just didn't have it. But yeah, you're seeing
Michigan
that.
State is the perfect example. They've got youth and they've got experience. I mean, they've got a couple of guys that are young that are producing, but they're not leaning on those guys.
Right.
Like, look at LSU. Who do they lean on?
Naz Reid.
If
he didn't play
Javonte
well.
Smart.
If
If they don't play well, there's no experienced guys. I mean, Tremont Waters is your probably, Skylar Mays is your most experienced
he's a
guy.
junior. Waters is a sophomore.
But he doesn't touch the ball.
Right.
He doesn't. You got to get a guy that touches the ball a lot with experience to win at a high level. Michigan State, man, I would not be shocked at all if they win it all. They are so good. They're so talented. They're so well coached, and they have the experience needed with a little mixture of youth.
Well, the thing about Michigan State, which was so impressive, and we'll talk about the LSU-Michigan State game in a minute, but was the fact that I feel like they can beat you a number of different ways, right? They've got the inside presence. They can bang. They can rebound. They can be out physical you in there. But they also showed that they can step back and hit threes and beat you from the outside as well if you decide to take that part away on the inside. And, of course, we know they're well coached. So Virginia's got the ultimate defense. Auburn can obviously score with the best of them. And Texas Tech's defense is fantastic. So it's going to be interesting.
Virginia's fun to watch, man. I mean, that guy kid, I mean, man, can he shoot the rock, dude? I mean, he's just can create his own shot. I mean, he was fun to watch.
LSU. All right, so now that the season
By the way, did you watch that Virginia-Purdue game?
I did, yes. Yeah.
One of the best games, I
ever.
have ever watched in my
entire life.
There
were a lot of great games. I mean, anything Auburn played in was great.
Well, but I don't know. It was just the basketball was so well done, right?
High level.
It was high level. It wasn't guys playing one-on-one. It was literally, we have a game plan, and we're going to execute our game plan. And if and hopefully ours will out. You didn't want to see either one of those teams lose that night.
You know what was interesting? I thought LSU. Before the season started, we talked about it on Sports Church TV and radio that they were ranked preseason top 25 in most polls. We knew that they were freshman laden, a very young roster, inexperienced head coach, only in the second year at LSU. What was the bar, right? What would we consider? Well, I don't think we ever dreamed that they would go 16-2 in the SEC and undefeated on the road in the league, 9-0. And I mean, they win the SEC championship. Amazing. Okay, so they surpassed expectations on the regular season, winning that SEC championship, the 11th in school history. And now, LSU, this football school, is second all-time behind Kentucky in the SEC and SEC championship.
Crazy.
And most people would never get that statistic right. Probably would say Florida, more than likely. But
where have they been though? Like they must have been a long time ago.
Well, it's spread out. It's been spread out in different eras. But
lots of lulls.
Yeah, right.
Lots of lulls.
Big valleys in there.
Right.
But for the postseason, I thought that this had the markings of a Sweet 16 team.
Yeah.
When I first saw them play, literally the first 2 games of the year in the PMAC against non-conference teams, I thought this is a top 10 ranked team by March or April or February, because I could see the athleticism and the length. It was just different. It jumped out at you. I'd been to many LSU games over the last few years, and this was different.
Yeah.
And they did that. They got to as high as number 9 in the polls at the end of the regular season. They were 11th ranked team, but according to the NCAA, when their seeding bracket. And I thought Sweet 16 or bust. If they didn't make it to the Sweet 16, it would be a disappointing year, kind of like this year, LSU baseball. If they don't make it to Omaha, disappointing year. They made it to the Sweet 16. So they hit their expectations. They surpassed it by winning an SEC championship. Check all the boxes. Great year.
What's next?
But the Michigan State game was disappointing because it was over from the get-go, down 8-0. But it wasn't even the score. Did you notice how clunky they were when they came out? They looked like they were trying to run these preset offensive plays that they never do. And they looked like they were, okay, we're playing Michigan State. We got to play like Michigan State. And they came out.
Where does that come down to? It comes down to game planning.
You had an interim coach.
They didn't have. Let me tell you something.
The moment was too big.
The moment was too big. Well, I thought the game plan was bad. Honestly, I mean, I thought the game plan was bad. you got to look at who your opponent is and what is their weakness. Their weakness was guarding the three as well. But what do we try to do?
We're going to drive.
We're going to drive. We're going to get in the paint, and we're going to get ours. That's where their strength is. So we're going to go against their strength rather than trying to take our chances and take advantage of their weaknesses. And I think that's where they lost the game right off the bat. Terrible game plan. And I am going to point the finger at the coaching staff. I mean, Sean Payton would have gone in there. I mean, he's a great coach, right? Tom Izzo, great coach. These are guys that game plan based against your weaknesses. So why didn't they come out? Oh, well, our weakness is shooting threes. Well, you should have worked on it all week. You had a week to prepare for it. I guarantee Michigan State worked on it. Man, they were squaring up those shots for the entire game. Those shots were so squared up. They were taking their time. The elbow was, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, but the difference between Michigan State's offense, the way they run it all year, and the way LSU, Michigan State had 22 assists in the game. LSU had less than 10. That's because Michigan State worked the ball.
Yeah.
They
found the open
6
shot.
passes, rotated quickly, and they were able to get that's not how LSU plays. They didn't even play that way under Will Wade. They didn't rotate the ball very well. And LSU's threes generally aren't as wide open as the opponents. LSU struggled at guarding a three all year long. That's not a Tony Benford problem. That's a LSU 2018-19 problem, even under Will Wade. They just did not guard the perimeter all year. When you look at the stats from a lot of the big games, you would see the opponent shooting 10% better than LSU did. Where LSU made up for it was they won the battle on the glass, and they had less turnovers than the other team. Well, it wasn't that case against Michigan State. They won all the categories.
Look, at the end of
Michigan
the day,
State had more.
Better.
They were better on the boards, less turnovers,
a better
or
team.
Equal in the turnovers. They didn't make up for the lack of offensive creativity and the lack of a scheme.
The bottom line, Michigan State, better team.
Yeah.
That's it. LSU got.
You just would have liked to have seen LSU play a better game. They were out from the get-go. They looked overmatched. They looked like the moment was too big. They came out clunky. Looked like they had these design little set plays that just never got off the ground. They looked slow. Well, it was bad.
Well, and every time they got a little something going, Michigan State would answer.
Yeah.
So you're hoping that your team doesn't go down by 17 points, but the fact that they got it to 4, there's a lot of character. It shows a lot of character in the players. But as soon as they got it to 4, Michigan State just put the stop.
1 minute later.
1 minute later, they were back up to like 12.
Yeah.
They just pushed the stop button, and dude, that's team, man. That's why I feel like Michigan State is going to win this thing. I think that they're Auburn's good, Virginia's good. These are good basketball teams. But I'm just telling you, man, Michigan State's the real deal, man.
We'll take a break. When we come back, what's next for LSU basketball, right? What's going to happen with Will Wade? He's still the coach, believe it or not. So what's next for this LSU basketball team, and how quickly this great season is going to turn into all this controversy? We'll be back. Sports Shorts next.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call AccuTemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.
I know. We got to.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Shorts. Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis, presented by LeBears Casino. We'll have Dan Canaveri joining us in just a few minutes, talk a little LSU baseball. Before we get to talking about the future of Will Wade and talking about the whole LSU, what's next for LSU basketball, Joel was all proud of himself, telling me off the air.
No, but I wasn't proud of myself. I was name dropping.
Yeah, so
I was name dropping.
First off, I'm happy that you took your wife on a date. Normally,
I took my daughter.
Oh, it was your daughter. Okay, no wonder, because normally the wife just gets like a movie and a pizza on the.
She doesn't even get a movie. Yeah. She doesn't have. We don't see the same movies, bro.
So you took your daughter to the movies the other night.
Yeah.
Sunday night.
Last night. Yeah.
Last night we tape here on Monday, and you told me what?
As we're walking in, I see this big, tall guy coming towards me, right? And I'm like, oh, it's Zach Hess. I'm gonna say hey to him. So as he's getting up to me, if I'd have known him better, I'd have patted him on the butt and said, "Good job," like a coach.
That would have been awkward.
I didn't do that. We're not close. Yeah. So I just popped him on the shoulder, saying,
"Still, I don't know. It's going to get Joe Biden in trouble, so you probably shouldn't have touched him on the shoulder."
I'm not a female, bro.
Okay,
it's a dude.
right.
So I just popped him on the shoulder.
Can't do that. Can't touch.
It's a show of respect, right?
Okay.
Popped him on the pitcher. Popped him on the. He's a lefty.
He's a righty.
Okay, I popped him on the left shoulder, so I popped him on the wrong shoulder.
Big fan.
I'm being funny, dude. So anyway, I know he's a righty, but I popped him on the left shoulder. Said, "Great job," the other night. So. And then
did he look at you strange?
He just said thanks.
Thanks.
And then as he's walking by, I turned around and said, "Hey man, you know Ronnie Rance, huh?" And I'd already passed him, so I'm saying this to his back. And he turns to me and he goes, "Matter of fact, I do." And I said, "Yeah, that's my bro. We work together on fundraising and stuff." He said, "All right." I said, "All right, later." And then you tell me that he had a terrible Thursday night.
Right. He gave up 6 runs and 3 homers.
So what I meant to say is a couple of Fridays ago, great job. I didn't.
He's like, this guy really big LSU. He thinks
I'm a jerk.
He thinks you're being a smart, smart aleck. And then you threw me into the soup, by the way. So now I'm in there with you.
Like you're the one that put me up to it.
Right. Like he's like,
if you see Zach.
Yeah, I met your friend. Yeah, you guys are smart. You guys are real funny.
So I feel like a complete jerk because I saw some highlights of him pitching from. I missed the game. I had things to do.
Thursday
evening.
LSU Mississippi State.
I would have seen it, Zach. I'd have seen it if it was Friday, but Thursday night it's a very jammed up evening for me. So what happened is that I saw some highlights.
Yeah.
And he looked good.
Because it was just the highlights. It was the LSU Facebook highlights, which they never show the Tigers ever do anything wrong.
So, Zach, I apologize if I came off as rude.
Like a jerk.
As a jerk and a jack, you know what.
There you go.
It's Ronnie's fault.
Well, I'll try to.
Ronnie put me up to it.
I'll try to put everything back to normal when I see him.
Please do.
All right, so LSU basketball right now, this wonderful, this wave of excitement. The season's over with. It's been an awkward last 2-3 weeks.
Right.
with all the Will Wade controversy. He's still, oh, by the way, employed.
Yeah, he's still
as
got
we
a job.
speak. I haven't gotten anything that's broken lately on the Twitter, but at the moment, he's still the basketball coach for LSU.
Right.
It's about to get weird.
Yeah.
Weirder than you congratulating Zach Hess on a a good job when he didn't have a good
weird.
job. But,
so weird.
I mean, what's going to happen over the next few weeks? I mean, this is bizarre that's about to happen. What's coming up?
I mean, nobody knows. I mean, I think we have to wait for this hearing, don't we? I mean,
The trial.
The trial.
where
I mean, I think you
there's some
kind of wait.
FBI tapes that may get played. Maybe there's a trial. Maybe not. Maybe there isn't a trial and this thing gets settled out of court.
So,
that's going to be.
that's interesting.
That's going to be the more interesting part. If there's a trial, there's a better chance that the public will hear the tapes and maybe hear Will Wade's voice on those tapes. If there isn't a trial, if they settle before there's a trial, which is a good chance that could happen, then those tapes may never come out. And then there's the what's on them type of thing. So,
well, and then you got to think that the NCAA is going to want to investigate. I mean, it's just too hard to tell. That's why you're not hearing anything. I mean, I think that LSU's kind of waiting to see what happens as well.
I don't know how much longer they can wait, though. That's.
Well, I mean, you're right, because, I mean, you're looking at 3 schools in the SEC that are looking for coaches, one that's already been filled in Alabama. So, I mean, what are you going to wait for the last second, and then you're not going to have a coach to hire, and then we're going to be with Benford for the next year?
Well,
I mean, that may be the case. Your interim coach becomes your head coach. Give him a year to see what he does.
The problem is that the NCAA traditionally takes forever. You know, their investigations take a long time. So the idea that they're going to wrap this up in a bow and by May 15th we're going to have some, ruling from coming down on what the future of LSU basketball looks like from the NCAA because the trial had already – I just don't think that's realistic. So you're going to be in this limbo. You're in a limbo right now with your coach. You're going to be in a limbo with the program. What are the sanctions? Are we going to lose any scholarships? Do we have a postseason ban? What's going to happen?
You have to believe that that's going to happen.
But until you have those answers, what good coach are you going to get,
You're not.
right? You can get a coach – but are you going to get a big dog coach to leave another program to come here when he doesn't even know what the future looks like? So I think you're in a situation where you either stay with Tony Benford and staff, or you pull a John Brady off the radio and you say, like a Van Chancellor, you did it with Pokey Chapman. It's not a crazy scenario, and they take one for the team for the next year or two, John.
Does
by the way, here's $1 million.
Brady want to do that?
For $1 million a year? Yeah, he would. He would for that paycheck. Absolutely. He loves LSU.
I'll tell you what.
He's showing up for every game making $200. I mean, he'll give him a few more.
Is that what they're paying him?
They might pay him a little more, but not much. LSU Sports Radio Network has been paying about the same rate for about 30 years, and I know what it is. It's pretty bad.
I didn't realize it was. I thought maybe they gave him a little something extra.
Ricky Blanton was doing games for $150 a game. So, but the point is that
thank God for
that
insurance.
if he's going to be there anyway, and he lives in New Orleans, and I mean,
I think that's then let me tell you something. Then you got to do that. You got to give John, you want the job? And, man, if he does, I mean, this is a guy that's gone to the Final Four.
No, it's not a situation. He's the long-term answer.
But hold on a second. If John Brady, you're telling me, hold on a second. You're telling me if John Brady, a guy that's been to the Final Four, who's had success, kind of wore out his welcome, but he's welcomed back, and he gets you through this poo-poo and wins some games along the way, and then all of a sudden he starts winning more games. Dude, you're crazy. They gave Ed Ogeron an extension. John Brady would get an extension if he did well, Ronnie. Yes, he would. Yes, he would.
You're not putting him in that situation to be the long-term answer. He'd be
but if he did
whether
well,
it's Tony Benford or John Brady, it doesn't make a difference. It's
Benford
a 1 year.
Benford or Brady?
I would take Brady. Unless I walk into that room and I meet with all the guys and they all raise their hand and say, I'm staying if Tony Benford's the coach. Because the last thing you want is a mass exodus, because you're not going to go be able to recruit with John Brady on an interim tag for a year. You got to be able to keep them all. And I think you can with John.
You don't think that those players have questions right now?
You got a guy on the bench that played at Denham Springs, Tasman Mitchell, who's going to sing John's praises, loves them. So Tasman is going to be able to keep those guys. So I think the Brady move's not a crazy one.
Let me tell you something, dude. Players like to win, right? And when Will Wade left, it's a different team. It's a different team. So I don't know if that's a psychological thing that Will Wade was able to do with these players. These are the same players. And it just kind of went off the rails in certain situations. I mean, they won some games, but they also didn't win any big games. They won and done in the SEC tournament, right?
Right.
They
survived by the hair of their chin on Yale and Maryland.
Correct.
Right.
And then got their you-know-what's handed to them. So as a player, I think that you look at that and you say, well, why did we all of a sudden start not playing well?
Right.
I mean, you point the finger. It's human nature to point the finger and blame someone, right? And I think that these players are smart enough to understand that, maybe the leadership wasn't as good. I mean, Benford, dude, he wasn't that successful at North Texas, bro. I mean, not very good.
Right.
So, I mean, he couldn't win there. Why did all of a sudden he's going to win at LSU?
Well, I don't think he's the long-term answer. I think it's a situation where I just don't think LSU's going to get the answers it wants from the NCAA quick enough.
I love the John Brady thing,
Ronnie. Yeah, I mean, we said that on this, a lot of people, and that's not an original thought. A lot of people said that. Heck, I sent him a text message right when it all went down with Will Wade and said,
What'd he say?
Dust off your whistle. And he didn't respond because it was like literally the second
You
it
want
broke.
well, what about Mulkey, Kim Mulkey? Would she take it over
Kramer's
for an opportunity?
mom?
Yeah,
Kramer's
for an
mom?
opportunity to. I mean, LSU
Kim Mulkey would love to do it. I would love to see that experiment happen.
But would she do it with all this stuff hanging over LSU?
Yeah, I think she'd do it regardless. If you went in there with the right money, I think she would because Kim Mulkey, the clock's ticking on her age.
Yes.
And it's going to happen eventually. Like
why not have it at LSU?
10 years from now, at some point, a woman is going to coach Division I basketball.
Or
Don't
the NBA.
know when. Or maybe NBA. It's going to happen. The issue with Kim Mulkey, she'd be a great coach. The fan base would love it. Louisiana would love it.
Can she recruit?
Can she recruit? Will players check their ego at the door, go play for a woman? I think if there is a woman, it's her. There's no doubt about it. If
Brady
there is
or
a
Mulkey?
woman, Mulkey.
Me too.
I would take Mulkey. I would take that experiment.
I think it cleans up the brand too.
It would make it's a feel good story that would be interesting. Listen, LSU's not going to do it, but I love the conversation.
Wait! No, you just saying
they're
they're not
going
going to do
take $2.5-3 million. They're not going to be pot committed to the Kim Mulkey experiment. And by the way, who's going to make that decision? Because we may have new leadership at some point. All right, he's Joel Davis. I'm Ronnie Rance. Thank you, JD. He's headed to Indonesia. We'll see him in a couple weeks with a tan. When we come back, Dan Canterbury will talk a little LSU baseball. That's next.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Shorts. Ronnie Rance alongside Dan Canterbury, former LSU assistant baseball coach, now with the Tiger Athletic Foundation. And Dan, I don't know that I've ever seen an LSU baseball season flip on its head as much as it did from Thursday to Friday.
I tell you what, you got to give Paul a lot of credit. I mean, there's not many people can flip this thing as fast as he did, in one series, like in one game. Boom. As soon as it hit Friday, we flipped over. A lot of credit got to go to Cole Henry for a great pitching performance to really be, as you know, in baseball, they call him the stopper, the guy that stops the losing streak and gets the thing turned back around. I thought he did a great job.
17 strikeouts on Thursday against Mississippi State pitching. They did have a nice little push at the end of the game to make it a one-run ball game. They did lose 6-5. I'm not one that always puts a lot of emphasis in the score, in baseball.
You don't get style points for the score. It depends on how you play it, especially as you know, on a weekend, you got to play your pitching to win the weekend. So sometimes you may put in lesser pitching or play around it, and sometimes, like Mississippi State, they had to use some pitching on Friday to win, which worked LSU advantage later on Saturday.
But there's two players that in Thursday's game were kind of unsung heroes that I think played a large role in helping. And Vetmeyer was the main one, right? He comes in after Zach Hess struggles, gives up 6 runs, and Vetmeyer goes 3-4 innings and doesn't give up a hit.
Yeah.
And saves the bullpen, right? Saves Fontenot and Peterson and those guys for the rest of the weekend, which paid dividends. So that was a kind of a quiet thing under the radar. Everybody was excited that, he pitched well, but they lost. No big deal. Saved the bullpen that right now is very thin. Mm-hmm. And then C.J. Willis was a good story. It gives them now another option in their lineup. A player comes off the bench, hits a double the other way on a 1-2 count on a ball off the plate, a really nice at-bat. C.J. Willis is a guy who had a very good fall, had a big-time guy out of high school, top 100 player in the country. But because of that, labrum injury he had, not really a factor now. Another bat, for Paul to tinker with, and gave him some RBIs and some good ABs over the weekend.
Yeah, he did a great job, and now Cabreras can rest a little with a wrist injury or hand injury, so he can rest. CJ can play first, Beloso can DH or vice versa, and they're playing. DiGiacomo can play a little, who's played very well. The only downside is if he was right-handed, it'd be even better.
Yeah,
but that's the only downside. So many lefties.
Yeah,
but he seemed to do well against the lefties. But he's a great talent. And I think that adds a lot. It'd be great if he could get his arm in shape and get behind the plate again, because that would give him even more depth, behind the plate in the left-handed bat as a catcher to give him some alternative. But great effort by the whole team, and Willis was really a spark for Paul.
Yeah, they win 2 out of 3 over the weekend. Cole Henry continues to move forward. He's got electric stuff. Still a freshman, so you're still going to take some little bit of ups and downs. There's some peaks and valleys, but man, the sky is the limit for him.
Well, when you played, and one of the things that was always a determining factor when I was coaching for the pitching is, especially young pitchers, they can go out and do it 1 time, 2 times. If they do it 3 times in a row, you can pretty much bank that they're there, they've arrived. You got to give a lot of credit. Vitmeyer stepped up, and as the season moves along, you need guys to step up like a Trey Hodges, like a Hunter Gomez or Ben Saxon or other guys, in your era, guys that you played
Right.
with that stepped up. Vittmeyer's showing a step up. Devin Fontenot's been clutch, coming in really when they needed to give him the good innings in the middle. And so he's done a good job. And, of course, you can't say enough about Eric Walker coming back from the Tommy John surgery, giving them great outing this past Saturday and getting better each time out, getting stronger. Quality of the pitchers are better, and he's just a great competitor.
So Eric Walker goes 7 innings, doesn't give up a run. And that's kind of Eric Walker 2017 type of performance on the road against Mississippi State, playing for the series, even with a rain delay in there for an hour, came back and was outstanding. What did you see out of Eric Walker different this time around? And and is he, can we say, all right, he's back?
Well, again, 3 times you got to see it in my mind. But the quality of his pitches were better. His command was better. He's a guy that relies on command, movement, control. But when people say control, it's not just not walking people. It's missing at the right time, missing in the right spot so that they don't get the barrel of the bat on the ball when you're a contact pitcher. He did a great job that way, and he's coming along. From guys that you played, like Mike Soroka is probably the best example. When he came back from arm surgery, it took him about halfway through the year, like a Trey Hodges. Took him about halfway through the year because there's also that psychological block you got to get through to cut it loose and let it go once you're physically healed. And then you got to get the stamina because you use that arm in a different way than it's been used for the last year, and you're trying to bring it back. So it's a heck of a process. A lot of credit goes to Walker, but I think he's coming. He's going to keep coming because he's that kind of a kid.
LSU finds itself 6-3 in the SEC. More importantly, they went 3-3 on this brutal road trip at Georgia, at Mississippi State. Literally 2 of the top teams in the country.
They're half a game behind, tied with some other people.
Yeah.
What's amazing is that Mississippi State, Texas A&M are ahead of them in the polls. I just checked the polls. They're 13th. We're 13th, and the other guys are 6 and 7. So a lot of SEC teams in there. Of course, I don't believe in a lot of polls, but this was a big weekend to keep them in the hunt in the SEC West and at the top of the SEC.
They've got Texas A&M this weekend coming up. We know in the SEC it's brutal schedule each and every week. They got 21 more games to go. So much still on the plate. When I look at what it takes based on this season, and granted, when you talk about hosting regionals, there's a lot of, you got to look around the country and see what everybody else is doing as well. But just off the cuff, to me, the magic number is 17. Do you agree with that? 17 and 13 gets you a regional
in the SEC.
In the SEC,
I always thought that at LSU you're looking at the super regional, which you really shoot for the top 8. They got 17 will get you regional. I think if you get 20, but you do a little good in the tournament, do a pretty good job in the tournament, get close to the end, which Paul always seems to do. I think it gets you a super regional with the conference because the conference is so even, but everybody can beat you. Like Missouri's good now.
Yeah, I think
they can pitch
I think
now.
20 and 10, and I don't even need to go to Hoover. I think 20 and 10 gets you a top 8 national.
That's winning 2 out of 3 every weekend, and that's a tough thing to do. But sweeps are tough. But 2 out of 3 is workable. You get lucky, you get a sweep against Kentucky, and then all of a sudden
Auburn or something.
Yeah, you get somebody to sweep, and you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah. So I'm just working it up.
17.
17 to get that regional, 20 to guarantee a super top 8 national seed. You might get a top 8 national seed if you're at 18 or 19 and you go win the tournament. But we're just kind of looking at regular season numbers. LSU right now on their way at pacing 6-3. That was big, man. I said when they went on this road trip, I thought, hey, even if they came back 2-4 and you win one each weekend, it's not a horrific deal.
But I tell you, you got Kentucky at home, then you have two weekends against tough teams on the road. You end up 6-3, and that's your formula for 2 out of 3 on the weekend. You're 20 and 10, which is a good deal. I think one of the things the folks and the fans have to understand is, especially in the SEC baseball, the way it is now, it's not necessarily who you play. You can't look at records or anything. I think what you really look at is how is your team playing? Can you play day in, day out, consistent baseball? And then I think you're in good shape. And I think this team needs to find consistency. And hopefully they cracked it this past weekend.
The Chris Reed story is
Rocky.
Rocky. It's good. I'd say it's the Austin Bain train story of 2019, right? I mean, guy comes out of nowhere last year. He's just a fill-in, a scrimmage player.
Yeah, but close to your heart, he's not a pitcher that gets the hit.
Right.
Come on now.
Right.
You really like that story better.
Oh, I love it. No, I like that one better. No question. I'm more of a Bain Train guy. I like to think that could have been me. But 19 and second or tied for the lead in doubles last year in the SEC, which is a crazy story. So Chris Reed, he's literally at the rec center. He's working at Traction. He's driving Uber, whatever. He's just not. He's not even playing baseball or even thinking about playing baseball, and gets the call. My question is explain to the folks out there why this story even happened in the first place, and it goes back to 2009 with the 35-man roster limitation.
Yeah, the toughest thing about baseball these days, and what Paul Mainieri and all the other coaches have to deal with, unlike when I was coaching and you were playing, is the 35-man, okay? Meaning you can only have 35 guys on your team. You have to declare it before opening day.
And that's red shirts, whatever. If they're on the team.
Well, if they're on the team, if they're on scholarship, they have to count, towards your 35. Right. So if a guy's on scholarship, unless he's injured or unless he resigns.
Which that's a new rule, by the way, the injured thing. I think
right, they just added that. Or unless he resigns and he goes off scholarship or whatever. But they count on your 35. So it's tough because you've only got 27 on scholarship. If you can get 27 on scholarship, because it takes baseball, they split them up, the 11.7, and you have to give at least 25%. That's the old TOPS rule. Basically, when you were playing and when I was coaching, we give a kid TOPS and give him books. And, he'd get the TOPS, get books, give him 3%. You can go give some draft picks some more money, but now it's the kind of parity there. So that's the big one. Well, Chris Reed, what happened is they ended up one guy short after they came back in the spring. In the spring.
Yeah, well, in the spring.
When they came back for the spring, I think it was Jordan decided not to play, couldn't come back off the knee injury, didn't feel right. And so now there's a roster spot opened up for an infielder, and Paul was able to bring Chris Reed back. And I think it's one of those things, Ronnie, when baseball's taken away from you and now you get a second life, it may have sparked him to be like, he probably was kind of in the dumps. He hadn't played a lot the last couple of years, kind of in and out, not playing. And just to have the opportunity to come back and be on the team and play gave him some adrenaline. Plus, body may have gotten a rest, from the wear and tear. And as you know, it's, well, not you, but a lot of people that wear and tear.
I just tear. But I give both sides a lot of credit on this story because Chris Reed could have easily been bitter towards Paul Mainieri, basically being kicked off the team. That's the nicest way. They can sugarcoat it however they want, but they kicked him off the team. And, he could have been bitter and said, no, I'm not coming back, or, I hate you. And give Paul Mainieri credit. He admitted, hey, I need you, right? I made a mistake, or, things opened up. I really need your help. And they both came to a mutual agreement of respect for each other. And Chris Reed has made the most of this opportunity. If I'm Paul Mainieri, I leave him in third the whole rest of the year. Don't even think about another option.
Well, he, like you said, he's the Bain Train. You got to have him in the lineup. He's one of those guys, and you got to give Paul credit too, and Reed, because he played his way in the lineup. It wasn't like he was gifted.
Yeah, it wasn't like they said, we need you at third. You're our starter. He took advantage of his opportunities.
Pinch hitting. He did his thing late in the game. He stayed in the game. He's good on the bench, as he always is. But he's one of those guys, and you've played with these guys before, when he plays, the team plays better. He makes the other guys play because of the way he does his business, and he's a leader by example. And we got a lot of young kids on this team, so I think that has a big factor in why he's doing so well. And he's kind of like a grandfather out there. He's like Brett McCabe used to be. Whenever we play another team, it says, McCabe leaving? He's been here like 7 years. Like Chris Reed's been there like 7 years. To the other coach, he's been there forever. And, again, a local kid from Baton Rouge, loves LSU, loves baseball. His enthusiasm, the way he plays the game is contagious to all the young players.
All right, we'll take a time out. Sports Shorts presented by LaBears Casino. We'll be back with National Championship Assistant Coach Dan Canterbury. Don't go anywhere.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.
Sinceri was the...
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Shorts. Ronnie Rance, Dan Canaveri, former LSU baseball assistant coach, 5 national championships, 1 as an assistant at Miami, where they're a national champion. Skip Bertman, about to be 81 this May.
Same birthday as yours,
Same
Ronnie.
birthday as me.
You'll
May
never
23rd.
forget his birthday.
Always
That's right.
will remember it. Give me the latest on Skip Bertman's statue, the new plaza that's being built outside Alec Box Stadium.
Looks like the plaza is going to be ready for the last weekend of the season, and unofficially, they're going to, if it's ready, they're going to do a dedication ceremony and honor all those teams and everything there, and then Skip's statue, because Skip's got so many people from out of town that would be coming in, unlike other things and he wants to separate the two. Probably do something in the fall before a football game, or sometime in the fall when he's got the stadium, he can have people come in, get hotel rooms, and not fight a baseball game, because, as you know, tickets are hard to get. A lot of people there, and it might be too much for Skip at his 81-year-old age at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way it looks right now. They still haven't finalized plans, but that's about where we're headed.
That's looking forward to that. Going to be super exciting. And of course, there's a there's a SEC Stories documentary being done as we speak on Skip Bertman. It's probably going to air sometime in June of 2020 around the College World Series. So I mean, this project's going to go year and a half. They've only got footage being done. They've only got 50 minutes to tell the whole story, and they're interviewing about half the country. So I don't know how this is going to work out, but it's going to be interesting.
The guy that's doing it, Mark Kinderman. I think what he's doing is trying to get a lot of footage so he can sell another hour.
Yeah, no way.
And load up and get a 2-hour thing, and hopefully get a sponsor, someone to pick up the tab. I think he's really looking for that angle, because let's face it, you can't tell that story in 1 hour.
It really needs to be part 1, part 2, right? I mean, And the other part is, nowadays social media and on the online, the digital platform is so popular. that creates content for the digital platform. So I hope he gets the
You
funding.
go to ESPN Plus.
Go to
and just
ESPN
get-
Plus and watch part 2 of the documentary or whatever. So I hope it gets done. But I can't wait. Looking forward to it.
I tell you what, you're talking about baseball stuff. The Sports Performance Center is almost is going to be done in mid-April. It's getting real close to completion.
What's going to all be in that?
In there is, you know, they redid the batting cage with some new netting and everything, and then at the end of the batting cage, which used to be the end of the room, now there's glass windows and doors that enter into the baseball weight room, which can house 35 guys at one time. They've got a cardio deck. They got the weights on the floor, lots of speakers, lots of TVs, you know, a fueling station in there, and then an office for the strength coach. And which you would have liked when you played, they can go in between classes.
Oh, beautiful.
Instead of getting there at 6 o'clock and beating the football team, or when you're playing late night on a Wednesday and you play the extra inning game against UNO at home, or UNO on the road, you get back at 12:30, 1 o'clock, and you got to get up at 5:30 to get to weights at 6. Now they can fit it in. So you get a class from 9 to 10, you're off from 10 to 11, and then you go lift weights, take a shower, grab something at the fueling station, which is going to be in there, which another feature that's big in college athletics now, and then head out. But then there's another feature for Bregman and the boys and Aaron Nola, the pro player locker room. So they're going to have a locker room during the off season where they can come work out, of course, at the field and in the weight room and in the indoor if it's rainy or they need AC, and take a shower and have a place to call their own. Big for recruiting. A lot of schools are doing that now. So it's going to be a nice area for Paul and LSU baseball to work in.
Yeah, that's at Alex Box Stadium. It's in right field. And look, I got to believe after LSU saw Mississippi State on the road, their new facility, all the attention it got nationally on ESPNU, that wheels are turning, right, for phase 2, 3, 4 in the future for Alex Box Stadium.
Like, it's never going to be over.
Right.
You know, somebody's going to come up with something new, and then you're going to have it because recruiting is all about new, shiny things. Everybody's recruiting the same top-shelf athletes. But, by the way, on Thursday night, did they have a game, or was it just showing the
Yeah.
I was watching on ESPN. Was it just Kyle Peterson eating and showing the guys in the –
Here's the thing. I actually am one that didn't mind it. I know it rubbed some LSU fans wrong that it felt like a Mississippi State, advertisement, and it was. But it is unbelievable, what they built. But I think they had the wrong guy. I mean, Kyle Peterson was not the guy to have this light, fluffy. They should have had me. 100%. Could you imagine me with all
light
that
and
food
fluffy and all that food in
and left
Starkville?
field
Oh,
and
my God.
Starkville? I'd have been singing with the fans. I'd have been eating then have thrown it up, and I'd
I was going to say, I don't know if you could have made the plays that were made there to catch the food. You know, but
but I would have so enjoyed the role that Kyle Peterson just kind of reluctantly did on Thursday. I've got a suggestion. In right field at Alex Box Stadium, right now there's a void in right field between the center field fence and the right field bleachers. Now, I know there's some talk of possibly a scoreboard in that space to have the lineup on and all that. And you can still have that. It doesn't have to be pressed up right against the fence. But I would love to see a deck out there with alcohol sales and all that. In left field at Mississippi State, on the roof of those condos, is a bar overlooking the field, and it just like they have in Tiger Stadium, overlooking the field. You can go all the way up the elevator on the, what is that called?
Sky Zone.
Sky Zone, right? Let's have an outfield deck in right field where you can sell alcohol, have the TVs, maybe have a covering of some kind. I think that would be a huge hit. That's where I would be.
I think it's a great idea, Ronnie, and we're looking forward to you to make the lead donation for that to the Tiger Athletic Foundation.
Wait a minute.
Since you're so vehement about it.
You got two guys that signed for $145 million. Go cultivate that relationship.
Yeah, but I tell you what.
Bregman and Nola.
Yeah, but they can get in the suites anyway. They don't need that.
Right.
You know, they can just ride with the fans. I tell you what, though.
Billy and Janice Guitro are looking for a new thing so that I can get out of their suite.
Yeah.
Because they're tired of seeing me eating their food.
But I tell you what, the thing about that is you have to understand baseball just made its run here with construction projects.
Right.
You know, now we got to move next and do some basketball work, some PMAC work. You got track and field. You got to rotate around. So baseball's got to wait for its next turn. But I'm sure when it rotates back around to baseball, there'll be a lot of things on the plate to discuss.
Yeah, that's the thing. By the time it becomes LSU baseball's opportunity, say 5 years from now when they start to really plan out the next mega phase, the stadium will be 15 years old. other
Might be
people have
sooner
new,
than that.
you know.
And also remember, you got that softball is always included in that.
Yeah.
You always have to include, like if you do basketball, you do men and women's the same, and that's the way it is, and that's fair.
Title IX, right.
It should be done like that. And
speaking of softball, off to a great start. They got a special team. When did all of a sudden softball become, in the last like 5 years, so offensive, right? I just remember softball 10, 15, 20 years ago, every game was 1-0, 2-1. That's not the case anymore. It's a fun game now.
It's a fun game. I think what's happened is, just like baseball did, you got hitting coaches now. You know, you got launch angles there. You've got spin rates. You've got the same Rapsodo machines and all the analytics that go into it. So I think the quality of the coaching is better offensively. I think the ballparks are, and especially in the SEC, just like baseball, a little shorter. But probably the bats are better. They deaden those bats. Now they're juicing them up a little bit. They're getting the ball juiced up, and they're getting it right where offense is on show. So I think it's big. And of course, also bringing to play weightlifting and conditioning is also part of it. So that sport's kind of catching up with baseball, and it's really catching on. It's a fun game to watch.
Got a little info to pass on before we get out of here. A guy, your former boss for a couple seasons over at Southern University, Roger Cador, getting inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. We are that's coming up right around the corner. We are just over 60 days away from our June 6th, 7th, and 8th event up at the in Natchitoches, where the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame 2019 class will be honored all weekend long. Roger Cador going in with Peyton Manning, Les Miles, Danielle Scott from Woodlawn High, 5-time Olympian volleyball player, and many, many others. And we get things started with a golf tournament May 5th and 6th over in at Lake Charles at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles. Going to be a fantastic event, 2-day event, a big pairings party. That's Sunday night on the 5th. A lot of celebrities, former LSU Tiger greats and Hall of Famer greats. And then coming up on June the 6th, 10 a.m., we will have the golf tournament on one of the best courses in all of Louisiana. Go to lasportshall.com to be a part of that and to join us in Lake Charles for the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame golf tournament. Dan, we're going quick to break. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll check out Dan Canterbury with Skip Bertman Monday nights, 8 to 9 on Eagle 98.1.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Heater outages hurt everyone. Don't be a victim. Call Accutemp and schedule your maintenance check today.